Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're doing something a lot more chill. We're doing a flexibility routine. Few people have requested it and that's super fun for me to do because I love to stretch. And I'm trying to still get my voice back. It's like the second week of not having a voice. So I still have some classes to teach tonight. I'm trying to save my vocal cords a little bit. So I figured something a little more relaxing. I could use my lower register and soothe you into stretching magic. So that's the goal here today. This is a simple series. This is one of my favorite stretch series. I learned this, or at least a variation of it, probably when I was like 12 or 13 at a summer dance intensive. And I was like, oh my gosh, my life was changed because my hips felt so awesome. Felt really warm after that. I always warm up and start my deep stretching with this series. So if you've taken a class from me, you probably know something similar to this. So we're gonna do that series. It's mostly for your hips. And then we'll do a little bit of hamstrings and hip flexors to try to work into our splits. So if you are a little bit more flexible and you have your splits already, I'll give you some modifications to make that a little more challenging. And then on the flip side, if just the word splits freaks you out, don't freak out. We'll give you some nice smooth ways to get closer to your splits. Flexibility is just like anything else in life. You just have to work at it. So if you're like, well, I'm not flexible, I can't do that, get off your own back and just see if you can add some flexibility into your workout routine. A few times a week, it's gonna help a lot and you might be surprised at the gains that you make with that. So obviously we don't need any equipment for this. A yoga mat or a carpeted surface, somewhere comfortable, get relaxed, put some sweatpants on. I would love for you to do this after a workout or at a time where your muscles are pretty warm. Your muscles stretch a lot better when they're already warm, but you can do this at night before bed or in the morning when you're waking up, having coffee. Any way is fine, but just make sure you're stretching safely, pushing till you feel it, but not pushing too hard if you're not super warm. Without further ado, let's get started. All right, so to begin, I want you to sit not cross-legged, but with one leg in front of the other. So I'm gonna mirror you here. Your right leg is in front of your left, so it's not tucked under, it's just placed. With your right hand, you're gonna press into your right thigh and lean over to the left. So the reason we're pressing here, if I don't press my hand in, I'm still feeling a stretch up the side and kind of into my gluteus there, but when I press, I'm getting sort of this delightful tractioning sensation through my hip, which I just love. I'm obsessed with this feeling. So leaning over to your left, push with your hand, and really all you have to do during stretching for me in my book is breathe. Keep notice of your breath. Just take some sighs and take some nice deep breaths. It does a lot to help your body to relax. So from that push, I want you to turn your shoulder over and try to fully straighten your arm here. That gets me a little deeper into the back portion of this stretch, up and along the side. Move my microphone up here. So you might feel this in a few different places. We're gonna stay here for a few moments and breathe. I feel this sort of in a combination of my low back and the top of my hip. It might be across your SI joint. If you have really tight hip flexors, it might kind of come around the side. Or if your low back, your QL muscles are really tight, you might feel that predominantly there. So tilting, turning even more to your knee, I want you to drop your chin to your chest and really let the weight of your head down. Your head weighs anywhere from 8 to 12 pounds, depending on how smart you are. No, I have no idea why. So you use the weight of your head to kind of be your own partner in a partner stretch. You know, like use that to kind of help drag you down. You're gonna add your right hand to your left hand and continue to reach. So I'm not allowing that hip to pull up at all. I'm really pulling back as I reach. So nice to elongate these joints and these muscles here. They're working and they're kind of compressing all day long. So anytime you can traction that and release that, it's such a nice feeling. Take one more deep breath there. Inhale and then exhale and see if you can walk your fingers even just one more inch out. Flatten your belly a little more to your thigh and hold. So staying low, we're gonna reach our arms all the way forward and try to flatten yourself all the way down. I'm gonna scoot back a little bit here. You're gonna to stay there. Flatten all the way down. So I feel this a whole lot less in my back and more in my glute on this side, that same side, kind of in and around the hip. Try to feel like your back is less round and try to flatten, almost like someone just took their thumbs and massaged your back all the way up from your tailbone to the top of your head. Again, allowing your head to drop can be a nice assistance there. Let's take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. So I like to keep stretches moving, but you do have to stay long enough for your muscles to adapt. That muscle response is in your body, that kind of like that grab you feel when you first go into a stretch. That's designed to protect you from overstretching your muscles. So we have to stay in a stretch long enough to bypass that little reaction. Come up a little bit, and I want you to extend your front leg out to a little more of a diamond position here, like a front attitude in ballet. And down we go again. This just gets a different angle of those glutes that wrap around the hip. I love this feeling. Now, if you're really flexible here, if you can do like a half pigeon in yoga with no problem, you might be all the way on the floor. But for me, my hips are pretty tight in this position, and any extra guidance, any extra little ways to get in and around the different muscle groups in my hips is really helpful to me in getting that mobility. Let's drop the chin down, take one more breath. Inhale and exhale, and really let something go. You're not trying to do anything in a stretch, you're actually trying to get your body to just let go a little bit. From there, we'll roll it up. The leg that's in the front, you're gonna extend out to the side. We're just gonna take a little side stretch here just to feel good. Stretch through the rib cage, trying not to lift the shoulder into the ear, pulling everything down. So I look up to my shoulder, my elbow a little bit, and then kind of center my head so it's on the spine. Just take a few breaths here. Picture your rib cage able to open here. It is able to open, but picture all those little muscles, your intercostal muscles in between your ribs, actually stretching. So obviously, I can't feel those muscles by themselves. I feel my obliques, the muscles directly on my side body, but I'm imagining that, so my lungs could almost stretch a little further. This is a super functional stretch. You bend and twist all day, every day, so take a moment here and open. So this leg is gonna continue all the way around. You're gonna have to rearrange your front leg a little bit to like a double attitude position. I'm coming down on the left arm, if you're mirroring me, and squeeze your right butt cheek forward to drive that hip into extension. Take a little spiral to the back, and this, I don't know if you can see that on the video, this pressing and spiral is what gives that whole stretch through the front of the body. I feel a little bit of psoas, a little bit through my abs, as along with that hip flexor here in the front. So really squeeze your butt. That is key. And really looking up into the back. See if you can see that back toe behind you. Take a little breath, and then we'll release. So pull your heel all the way in. We're going in for a little bit of a longer stretch here, all the way down to the back. Now, if you have a bad knee, don't come all the way down. This is totally fine. Just chillaxing here is a good idea. Keep your knee pressed to the floor and keep your booty pressed forward. It's always a good rule of thumb when you're stretching to engage the opposite muscle group. So in this case, we're stretching our quadriceps, so we want to try to engage the posterior chain, your glutes, your hamstrings a little bit, and that's going to help elongate the front. Now again, my quads, super tight, so this is a lot for me. I can come down, but try not to overly arch your back here. Try to flatten your ribs. If you're really flexible in this position, crossing the other foot over the knee, coming down and then doing your best to flatten your stomach is a great way to accentuate that stretch. Wherever you are, let's close our eyes and take a nice deep breath here. Again, sometimes I get carried away with, oh, you gotta think about this and that. I forget to just relax. This is a chill video after all, right? Nice deep breath. We're gonna make our way up and out of that and get into a little bit of hamstring. So your front leg extends, back leg stays where it is, rearrange as needed. Try to square your pelvis and your upper body all the way off to the front leg and climb it down. So I like when I can grab onto something and pull myself in. Otherwise, This position is hard to really feel. If you have someone pushing your back, awesome. But if not, sometimes it just feels like you're not getting anywhere unless you have that extra added force. So if you can grab somewhere on your leg or your foot and use your arms and pull yourself in, that's going to maximize your stretch a lot. Now, hamstrings are a big muscle group as well, so we're going to stay here for a few breaths. Every time you exhale, it helps me to think about the muscle fibers. So there they are. There they are. These are your muscle fibers in your hamstrings. And I kind of imagine when I first enter the stretch, I feel that pull, that those fibers are all balled up in there. And the more I breathe, especially on the exhale, they lengthen out slowly and they pull out. And I kind of imagine that release. So that way my mind stays engaged and my body is able to relax farther. A few different foot positions you can take in this stretch. A flexed foot, gives me a good zing across the bottom half of the leg. You add in your calf and a little nerve casing pull as well. If you feel that zing, sometimes that's nerves. So you can breathe through that. If you have tight calves, hold this. If you stretch your calves plenty, sometimes it's fun to point your toe and actually push down on the top of your foot. You get this really nice feeling of a stretch kind of through the top of your ankle into your anterior tibialis there. And pushing your toes down as you lean forward. Like, when in life are you able to stretch your shin? Shins are super hard to stretch. So if you can feel that, try to capitalize on it. Let's get a little bit lower. Think about your belly button being on your thigh, so your spine is as straight and not rounded as possible. We'll stay for another breath. I know I said that already. Try to release. And come up. So bending the front leg again. We're still on the same side of our series. Let's get a little closer. Take your back leg and swing it around. And just pull your knee in. Now I see this a lot where this top hip is still up and you're really shortchanging yourself here. So drop your hip all the way down and then re-pull. My hip flexors are like gristly, so I'm just telling you all about my body, what I feel in this video. But I feel like I need to take my thumb and kind of move those hip flexors out of the way. Then I can pull my knee in closer and twist farther. This is a good time to feel really tall and long through your spine. Find sort of that counterbalance between pulling with your arm but allowing the muscles of the glutes and the hips to release. Make sure you're telling those muscles to do that. I don't know how often I am stretching and not really thinking about it, and then I'm like, okay, relax, and then my muscles just melt away, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the stretch. So make sure you're telling yourself to do that. Sorry for the pile of grass from Max, but thanks a lot, dog. All right, last stretch of this particular side series, or just series. Eke that bottom foot out a little bit, and you're gonna try to cross your top shins. Now, I see this a lot. I can do that when I feel flexible, but take your ankle and cross it all the way over your bottom thigh, and you should feel like, oh my gosh, I cannot even move. That's usually what's the case. If you're super flexible, you might be flat down, go forward. So I can go forward eventually, but I have to work this top position for a while. This is awesome for your hips. If you were to choose one stretch from this whole series, I would suggest this stretch. 30 seconds on either side, just enough to relax and relieve your hips. Whew. So I'm gonna shut up for a moment, and we're gonna try to get super zen here and slowly coax our muscles to release and work your way down. I keep this top foot flexed because it helps me issues here. If you're feeling pulling of your knees, sometimes your VMO, your I'm blanking, your VMO. Sometimes your VMO here, this inner quad muscle that kind of wraps around, can get really tight and that can pull on your knee. So if you feel that, there's some options. You can extend your front leg out and just try to lean forward as so. or you can just take the soles of your feet together. That's a super modification. If you're super flexible here, then just send me a picture of yourself all folded up like a pretzel. All the way down we go. Whew, trying to tell yourself that it's okay. This stretch like induces slight panic in my body. I'm like, so again, mind over matter, some deep breaths here. We're gonna say a few more counts and then we'll switch sides and do that whole series on the other leg. So see how far you can get, how far you can coax your body to cooperate. Again, maybe chin to chest, head down using the weight of your skull and your brain and all the insides. Woo! Start to walk yourself up and we'll do this whole thing on the other side. So just slide your top leg, your right leg, underneath behind your left, so your left is in front. So left hand to left thigh. We're gonna push out to the other side. Play around here, like this side right away, I don't feel like I'm feeling as much as I did on that first side. So I'm gonna try to wiggle around a little bit and push my knee open a little more. I really like the word traction in here. Like if you think about a bone that's broken and that's out of alignment, you have to traction, or even a joint, you have to traction, you have to pull it out in order to align it back up. I went to EMT school for a random blip of my life, so I always think about, oh yeah, like if I had to set a bone, I would pull it out. And that traction feeling, oh, it's so nice in your hip. Your hip joint needs that release. So if you didn't already, try to stretch your elbow and push your shoulder forward so that we turn a little bit farther down to that right knee. Okay, nice deep breath. Just notice where you're feeling this. It's going to tell you a little bit about your body. If it's more low back, you hold some tension in here. You might be compensating in your back. If it's glutes, that's just where you're tighter, is your hips. So just notice which muscle group is predominantly tight there. Coming down a little farther, add your left foot towards your right, but keep that left hip pulled back. And you're welcome to wiggle around here. You'll know when you feel a really good spot. You're like, oh, that's so good. So good to relieve those joints. Deep breath in. On your exhale, see if you can visualize those things that we talked about, those muscle fibers opening up, lengthening, the joints creating space. So slide that position all the way forward. We're trying to flatten our back here, down and over the legs. Notice if one side it feels different than the other side. So like this side for me is a little bit looser, which actually makes sense because my other side is my stronger side. So it'll make sense in the end, but just notice, because you always, I'd say always, and I'd say that confidently, you always have one side that's, whether you like it or not, going to be stronger than the other. Deep breath, see if you can flatten your back a little more, that rolling pin feeling from tailbone all the way to the bottom of your neck. And we'll roll up and take that slight modification. This front leg becomes a little diamond position, just for a new angle on that glute. So you can always shift your hips side to side. So like if I pull a little bit towards my front knee into that hip, woo, it's a little more intense there. You can lean, but you're always breathing. Are you relaxed? Are you super zen right now? I like that about stretching. It kind of like releases everything a little bit. Very good for your mind and your body. Stay there for a little longer. Give those hips a true chance to relax. So we're going to extend that front leg out to the side, just a little side stretch, just to get that leg out and around. Sorry, my hair's in my mic. And a nice side bend. Thinking again about the rib cage. You can also think about your lung stretching. And I say lung because I want you to almost focus just on the upper lung. If you could inhale and breathe more into this lung. See if that gives you a different stretch there. Love that feeling. Open up your rib cage. All day we're like, no. This is my impression of being on a phone, on a computer, eating, driving. So opening up, finding that full reach is really releasing. Really, really nice. Take a breath, stretch your oblique. Don't let that hip come up, really press it down. and open. So not too long there. We go to that double attitude position. Front leg goes forward a little bit, back leg wraps. Come down to your right elbow and give me that butt squeeze. So left hip draws forward, and in one big spiraling motion, reach your arms back. So this side, interestingly enough, I feel a lot more in my oblique, in my psoas, kind of coming up in the front of my abs. I feel a little bit more in my stomach and less in my hip. So I'm just saying that. It's not that interesting, but I'm just saying that so that you can start to notice those things about your own body. Open the arm, pull the heel in, let's settle into our quadricep stretch. Push your knee down, squeeze your bum forward, and then lower to whatever degree of stretch you're going for today. This quad, I think, is tighter. Interesting. Ooh, flatten it down. Remember, all of your modifications, you can stay here and just relax. Always tucking them. Squeeze that opposite muscle group. It helps. If you're super flexible, for your quads, cross your leg, come down, and then try to flatten your abs. Woo. Any and all variations of this is good. Try to come all the way down, even if you're on your elbows, maybe tilt your head back. Close your eyes. Woo. And try to feel that little bit of release through the muscle fibers, like they're actually opening, getting greater amounts of length to produce greater ranges of motion. As you breathe, think about sending your oxygen flow to your muscle group. Cool. All right, let's get up and out of that. Front leg extends forward for a little hamstring. So trying to square your hips again, all the way down. Walk gently down, flattening the back as much as possible, and then find something to hold on to grip so that you can assist yourself on the way down. Try to notice and see if you can kind of pinpoint or target that release through your muscles. So as you breathe in and it's feeling super tight, as you exhale and wait, maybe you can feel that little bit of melt, and then you chase it. So you go a little farther once you find that release. I think stretching is a really good way to get to know your body. If you're not sure what's tight and what's not, and even day to day, how you're feeling that day. I feel like every day I have a different person's body. Sometimes I'm all the way down a little farther. Some days I wake up, I'm flexible, I feel amazing, I can do whatever the day throws at me, and sometimes I wake up and I'm like, oh, I switched bodies with a 90-year-old woman and I don't know what happened there. So let's take the flex through your ankle, just to feel that kind of zing through the back of the leg and the quad stretch. Try not to open too much here. Try to stay square. Ooh. Through the calves. You know what? I really like teaching stretching because I end up just talking about random stuff. And I think in order to teach like group classes or do videos like this, you have to be kind of good at like talking to yourself. So I'll just be like, the other day I was thinking about this, and this is what conclusion I have come to about X, Y, and Z. So point your foot, start to point and press, and try to find that stretch through the top of the ankle, all the way down. I'm saying that because I was just looking upward and I was like, great, my forehead's probably gonna look really wrinkly. I'm starting to get to the age of 30, guys. So I'm getting to the age where I'm like, oh my gosh, do I have wrinkles? Like, do I need to start purchasing expensive facial creams and things? I don't know. So that was my thought process. And since I'm really literally just talking to myself, I get to say that. I'm sorry if you're bored. Okay, roll up. We're done with that stretch finally. Stop talking, Joanna. Bend your leg in, and we're gonna sweep that back leg in and around. So still attacking the hips. Make sure that top sit bone comes all the way down, and you re-pull. You want to take your thumb and kind of pry into those hip flexors. I like it. Helps me to get them out of the way, to pull deeper, to relax farther, to twist more, to lift up, and settle into that. Excuse me, that stretch. Really pull, really breathe. If you ever get bored and your mind wanders, just think about the way it feels. What is feeling like that? What muscle group is that? What does it feel like? How would you describe it? just bringing that sensitivity, that connection from your brain to your body can be really, really helpful. So we rearrange to our final stretch, our favorite, right? Stacking those ankles. Make sure you pull your bottom leg out and then crossing your top leg. So settling into that, make sure that leg is all the way over, and then if you're experiencing any knee pain or tightness, that you're modifying accordingly with that bottom leg or bringing your feet together. And from there, we just try to get our bodies to relax and adjust to this position. As we breathe. So I'm just thinking about what those hip muscles feel like. And if I could get them to relax. It's almost like talking someone down, you know, when you're upset or someone's upset and you're like, it's okay, just breathe. That's like what I'm telling my muscles right now. I'm like, it's gonna be okay. It's fine. And my muscles are like, okay. So walk your hands accordingly as far forward as you can. Drop your chin to your chest if that helps you. All the way down. We're gonna try to stay here for a while. So you got at least probably another 20-30 seconds. We'll see if I can keep you entertained for that long. When in doubt, just take a deep breath in and a deep breath out and try to think about that motion of breath. So we just have a quick little cap here for your hamstring and your hip flexors. Get you into a little bit of a split. I think it's always important to practice splits if that's kind of the direction that you want to go in, even if you're really bad at that. But you're gonna have to move. Back. This grass situation is gonna go. All right, so rearrange yourself. Moving slowly, letting those hips unkink. We're gonna scoot back onto your mat or your carpet. Take your other leg, the leg you just started with, forward. So I'm gonna take my left leg, that would be your right leg, and come down and press into the hamstring. So I'm walking my hands forward. If your back knee feels pretty uncomfortable, you can make sure you're on something squishy like a pillow. And we're trying not to open our hips here. So try to square off. We're gonna get a little deeper into this hamstring and then work a little more pliability through to the hip flexors. So we already previewed this down on the ground in that first series, so you might be able to get a little farther than you normally can when initially entering this stretch. So pressing, trying to stay low, I want you to press your hips forward into a little bit of a lunge and squeeze your booty. Stay there. I'm going to rearrange so that you can see a little bit better. So that you press through all the way and squeeze there. So keeping one hand on either side of the leg, we're just going to go back and forth a few times. So crossing your hips back, finding your hamstring stretch, and then squeezing, staying low, keeping your chest close to your thigh, pressing your hips forward. Do that one more time. Press to the back, feel your hamstrings. Maybe you get a little farther and a little deeper. Square off your hips if you can, and then press through to your lunge. So we're going to stay here, tuck your back toe, and then elongate that back leg. We're going to do that, lift and lower your back thigh a few times, lower your knee, lift it up. So if you can tell, I'm not lifting my hips as I lift my knee off the floor. I'm not allowing that rise to happen. In fact, I'm counterbalancing it, squeezing my butt, and then dropping it down. So when you lift your knee right here, press and squeeze, lengthen through your heel. I'm getting a little tremor there. Should feel like a very active stretch. Press and release. Keep it long. Keep your butt engaged if you can, and then come up to your front thigh. Sorry, I'm out of frame, but I'm not going to go adjust my camera. Press your hips a little further down and really keep your quads and your booty active. As you enable yourself to sink a little bit lower, feel all those tendons and ligaments opening up a little bit. It's a very powerful hip flexor stretch. Stay for another breath, and then drop. So only dropping this would be your left hand if you're still mirroring me, twist your hip a little bit. Sometimes this feels awesome, some people don't feel this at all. So just another nuance to notice about your body. See if you feel that. Then drop to your back knee. One last stretch here. We did this in one of the other leg videos. I love this stretch, but it's controversial. So if you don't like this pressure on your kneecap, or if you're way back here, try to push your hips forward. If you don't like that pressure on your kneecap, just stay there and squeeze your hips to the front. Whew, a little more time here. Hip flexors, they're cranky, so they need some time to release. Let's tuck that back toe and stretch up into more of a little bit of a triangle stretch here. So squaring your hips off again is ideal. And we're gonna start a little slide out to our split. Okay, I'm trying to stay really square here. If you have yoga blocks or anything to hold that can be of assistance to your hands here, I just come to my fist and I'm trying to stay squeezed and square as long as possible. This is something that's really new to me. In dancing, I just plopped down in an open split. I was like, I got it, yay. But now that I train aerial, and in that world, you have to be so square. And I think gymnasts are the same. Correct me if I'm wrong, but just this square split I never had to do because I always wanted my back leg to be turned out. So just a nuance, if you are working into your splits pretty far, try to keep that. If you're staying way up here, that is awesome. Okay, even if you're up here, feeling it, good, stay there. You can always lower to your back knee and just slide out a few inches, get used to that. You have to support yourself a lot with your arms initially before you're able to take full weight onto your legs, and that's kind of the sucky part, but do your best whatever level you're at. Try to keep those hips square and try to level down to the floor. If you're all the way down, you can stretch forward. Stretch back. If you're still supporting with your hands, that's absolutely okay. Your back is not very flexible. So let's hang out here for as long as possible. Just kidding, that might be a while. About another 10 seconds, trying to give your body sort of that availability or opportunity to relax if it can. Woo! And then just roll to your outside hip and come off of it. Drag your leg in. So we're just going to do that little simple set on the other side and then we're done, guys. So you're super close. I'm going to change this mat positioning around to the other side. So your left leg, I believe this time, comes out to the front and we lean over with a flat back. So this is also a good angle for hamstring stretching. If you tend to open and round, do your best here. You can come up to blocks, fingertips, or fists and really try to square off your hips. As we're digging a little deeper into the hamstring stretch, notice what side is more flexible than the other. If there's a difference here, I feel like there's less of a difference than with the hips. The hips are pretty different, but you might have one really flexible side and one not very flexible side. So staying low, press your hips all the way through. Squeeze your bottom. Squeeze. And press it back. All the way back. So if you're trying to get splits, there's two main muscle groups really that you have to stretch. Your hamstrings, the back of your front leg, and then press it through your hip flexors and your quads, your psoas. There's some other complicated stuff in there, but the front of your back leg. Once you stretch those, and you can stretch those independently, then your splits are going to go a lot easier. So if you're like, why can I never do splits? Hopefully that makes it a little less mysterious. It's just practicing that. Press it back one more time, a little more hammy. Come all the way down. Ah! And opening up. Try to square. And then last time, press through. So tuck your back toe. Here we go into that active lunge position. Press. And drop the knee. And press. Try not to lift your hips. In fact, as you stretch your knees, squeeze your booty. Engage your quad. Down. And press. I'm kind of excited about this new jacket I got. It's from Forever 21. Who would have thought? Last time, press it back and hold. It was like $27, which isn't bad. It's pretty stretchy and comfy. Come up here. And again, your goal is to feel heavy through the hips. So almost like someone's hands were here gently pressing you down. You can do that with your own hands if you need that. This is a lot for me just to hold, trying to keep the muscles engaged. Try to stay square. Shaking a little bit and calm down. Last stretch before we go into our splits is grabbing that leg. If you hate that, don't do it. Just press your hips forward. Otherwise, bring it up here. I do see a lot of people get their foot in their hand and then they're here, which doesn't do anything but just hurts your knee. So once you've pulled in, make sure you do press your hips forward, try to get off that kneecap. It's gonna feel a lot better. Ah, I could stay here forever. My quads are so tight. Feels nice. All right, release that back foot, tuck your toe again. Hop up to your little triangle stretch. It's a very wide triangle right now. And out we go. So maybe you're here and this is all you're gonna stay, and that is absolutely okay. Your further modifications include coming down to your knee, uncurling your toes, and just reaching your arms forward. Just see how far you get. And maybe you can make marks on your mat or just notice. Maybe you're here, and then if you stay with it, maybe in a few weeks you're here. Okay, flexibility is like anything. You can get a lot better with a little bit of practice. So just gotta be consistent. Try to keep those hips tucked a little bit. This is my worst problem. I wanna open so bad. Breathing. Trying to stay square. If your wrists bother you, come up to a fist position. Oh. Come down. So I'm still learning about what my audience is on here. My probably not very big audience, but let me know if I can make some videos. Well, it depends. If you want more beginning stuff, or if you want like an oversplit series, or like aerial conditioning and some more interesting but a little more challenging workouts, or you want to stay mid-range, or a few more beginning things. I'm happy to do any of that, but I'm sort of trying to decide what direction I should go in, if any. So if you're all the way down in your splits, go forward and back. If you're up a little higher in your splits, just hang out there, release if you need to, and come back into it. Oh, I need to work on my back is what I need to do. A little longer, and then we'll release. Slowly move into that, or out of that position. I just feel minorly crippled after a nice deep stretch, but so good after this. So wiggling out a little bit, drinking some water, good ideas, but it's nothing too hardcore today. So I hope you enjoyed that, something a little more relaxing. I should be back next week with, or maybe this weekend if I can make something a little more hardcore or more of a formal workout and less stretching. But hope you guys are having a good week. It's still freezing here. I just can't wait for spring. It needs to be warm like now. I'm not a cold weather person. And we keep our house really cold because we're cheap, and I'm just cold all the time. So anyway, I digressed. Thanks for watching this video. I don't know if I need to be like, please like my video and subscribe to my channel, but I am going to be consistent every week putting out videos. So if this is stuff that you like and you want to participate in, then consider liking or subscribing, and that'll do it. Thanks everybody. See you next time.